on it.
Okay.
On a,
I didn't get the sticker one. I didn't get one of those.
I'll talk about it and show that we have that available.
Okay. So I just need a bead maker bottle.
Yeah, just
right?
because that's sponsored.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Yeah, I don't think I got the same box as you did.
Yeah. Did you get the banners?
Just one, but I already had it.
Oh, wow. You already had that one, but you didn't get the other one.
Yeah. Yep. All right. So how was your guys' Mother's Day?
Yeah, it sounded like you had a good one. Looks like Mike finished Piper's little pee area.
Yeah, that was super fun.
It was cute.
Super fun. Yeah, it was fun. Turned out good. The little fire hydrant cracks me up.
The funny thing is, Piper doesn't even need a fire hydrant.
I know, but it was more for ambiance. It made me laugh.
Home Depot and get a ton of garbage and stuff.
Yeah, so, because we couldn't find anybody to come out and help us. And so we just left the rocks there that were there, and then we bought the turf. And Home Depot had a roll that was already cut to 9 by 12. And like normally that would have been like $220 because it's like fake fescue grass. So it looks real. And so they sold it to us for $120 for the whole roll. So we literally have like 2 complete, things. And then we just bought that rubber arc and put around it. And we already had the fence. Like we put the fence up, I think last weekend. And yeah, she was all about it. She thinks it's great. So Mike's super happy because he just wanted her to stop peeing on the grass. So yeah, it was nice. Oh, thank you. Somebody said Happy Mother's Day. Excellent. We already have a lot of people joining.
Getting there.
Is it the same music every week? It's funny, I always get those notifications whenever the whoever does the music approves that we're using it.
Oh, I haven't changed the music.
That's funny, and it's some strange name, but it always catches my eye in my notifications when it says they've approved our use of the music. It cracks me up. Do you have to file an appeal, or does that just automatically happen?
When they don't approve, well, I don't know what the issue is. I'll get a notification that says, 1 minute and whatever is
right. Yeah.
Like the Olympic Committee or something says
yes.
It's their content, and it's
yeah.
like, give me a break. This is this is that kind of music that's supposed to be free for everybody to use.
Yes. Hi, Adam. Yes, I did have a great Mother's Day. It was great. I planted stuff all day. I got my garden planted and a bunch of flowers planted. And did you guys see my car? It was totally packed full. It was so funny.
Yeah. That's what I saw. I was like, wow.
Yeah, that roll of turf was literally like touching my screen up front. It was so crazy. But yeah, it was good.
The Mother's Day wasn't so much a day of rest.
Yeah.
Enjoyable work day or what?
Yeah, and then I always plant my garden on Mother's Day. It's just my annual tradition. And then we went to Joe's Crab Shack for dinner, and it was so good, super good. Sometimes that can be hit or miss, but it was really good last night.
Nice. Yeah, we just hung out.
Well, here you go, guys.
Cool.
Good morning,
Good
everybody.
morning.
Welcome.
Good morning. It was bright and early on a Monday morning. I meant to put this back here. There we go. There. I have a bottle of Bead Maker.
Bead Bead Maker
Yes.
and Coffee. We're excited to have everyone. You can tell that Sydney's at home in her office, and Chris, as always, is at the mothership running everything from his home computer.
I'm
Yeah.
hiding
today.
Chris is going dark today.
Yeah, it's cold and cold for California, right? It's like 58 degrees and all wet outside, but
yeah, it's
I
cold
thought
here
today was
too.
gonna be
We've
like a
been getting warm during the
I'm-
day, but our mornings are still so cold.
Yeah,
There's Chris.
I'm here, but I'm gonna hide myself. These guys are the ones you want to talk to.
All right. Well,
Cool. So what's up,
Bead Maker
Kyle? What are you
Coffee
doing? Tell
is-
people what you're doing.
Say
They want to
again,
know if you're
Sydney?
driving an Airbus.
Yeah. No, I'm not. I'm driving my truck today down to my powder coater. I've always wanted my wheels powder coated black. I like my factory wheels on my truck.
Yeah.
So I'm going to drop it off this morning and have the rims sandblasted, powder coated, and then I'll pick it up this evening. It's kind of a one-day
Cool.
service. It's pretty cool.
Cool. What type of finish are you doing? Glossy,
I'm going to
satin?
do gloss black.
Okay, cool.
Just for ease and maintenance. Plus, gloss black kind of matches the wheels on my fifth wheel, my trailer.
Okay, yeah.
So the
That's
truck
important.
will be white, the trailer's white, got gloss black wheels.
Cool.
Trying to make them match a little bit, look good going down the road. So, and
Cool.
then I will ceramic coat them for sure.
Right.
I think I'm going to use them to test. I'm going to try,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to put Soul on a wheel. I'm going to put Legend on a wheel. I'll put Inspiration on a wheel. And then I'll put another coating on. I don't know. I'll just put another wheel coating on or something to see how they wear and how they last.
Mm-hmm.
And see which
Cool.
one performs the best.
Nice. That's awesome.
Why not? You know?
Yep.
I like to experiment with the coatings on my own vehicle and see the longevity. You know, my truck has Legend on the hood, Inspiration on the tailgate.
Yep.
And other coatings throughout the whole vehicle, and I like to see how they hold up.
Cool. That's awesome.
So,
well, good. That'll be fun to see.
Sydney, like we always do, we always start and talk our detail or what detail we did. I'm going to let you start first because my detail is probably going to end up bringing us into a little bit longer conversation.
A whole discussion. Yeah. So this week, kind of a funny situation, but the last couple of weeks we've talked about a lot of exterior stuff, so I want to talk about the interior stuff. So I had a detail this week that I'll spare you the details on how it ended up on my schedule because I honestly have no idea, but whoever does my scheduling needs to look for a new job, which she is me. And so this total dive of a car ended up on my schedule. And this just comes from me not asking enough questions when I was scheduling. The customer didn't offer up a whole lot of information. And so I didn't ask a lot of questions. I just scheduled the appointment and it was for a Subaru Outback. And those are typically, at least in my area, they're typically so dirty. But this one shows up and it was super old, had holes in the seat. It was just absolutely, it looked like it came out of a junkyard, like no joke, literally looked like it came out of a junkyard. So the things that really stood out to me was just how effective the interior stain system is. That is one of the things that, like I always know it's good. I know it's great, but it's one of those things that just constantly shocks me. I got everything cleaned out of this car and started moving seats around, and everything was tan interior. The carpets were tan, the seats were tan. It was absolutely trashed. So I just soaked the carpets in the Terminator and Carpet Bomber, let them sit, then used a drill brush and just drilled the heck out of them, getting those stains loosened up. And then I did have to use an extractor on this one because there was so much stuff in the carpets, just so much stuff. So I did use my extractor and then went back over with my steamer on some spots, but the carpets came out like, I don't know, 85 to 90%, which was really good considering they started at about 2.5. And so that was awesome. And then I used our favorite EnviroClean to get all of the plastics and everything scrubbed up, and used that in combination with my steamer. And I mean, total turnaround on the inside of this car. And I'm really serious when I say think of taking a junkyard car and trying to clean it up. And just the interior stain system for the carpets and EnviroClean, just it really tackled it and probably saved me a couple hours. And I was really shocked. So that was my detail of the week, where one of those where you just thought, what did I just get myself into? But thank goodness I had the tools that I did in my tool bag, between the steamer and the scrub pads and all that kind of stuff. It was amazing, and the car turned out amazing. So that was my crazy situation, but it turned out great. And I just wanted to talk more about the interior stuff because it's so great, and I don't think we talk about it enough.
Well, you definitely called me that day and was like, "Oh, it's an EnviroClean kind of day."
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I've had those days too where you're like, "Oh, please save me. I need a
yeah,
miracle.
yeah,
What can I do to get this done in a timely manner? I don't want to work on this, for 20
yep,
hours." And so,
yep.
yeah, I agree. Those tools, steam, man,
Hmm.
it makes a huge difference. A lot of people think that it slows you down. And
Hmm.
maybe it does a little. It's not as fast as extraction to the
Hmm.
carpets,
Yeah,
but the quality of cleaning is hard to match when you're cleaning the nooks and crannies with
yeah,
that steam tip.
yeah.
And if you're boosting it using EnviroClean and a little brush, and
Hmm.
then you're steaming out those areas, what I love about steam the most is, if you spray an all-purpose cleaner or something like EnviroClean on the door
Hmm.
panel and you're
Hmm.
scrubbing it, you always leave a little residue behind in the cracks.
Right.
And what I really like about steam is it blows those cracks out. It blows the
Yeah.
dirt, the dust, the crumbs,
Yep.
and it's clean.
Yep.
And
Yep.
you know it's clean. It's not like
Hmm.
dirt and dust is going to get reactivated or stuck to that residue.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So, good job. Well,
Yeah. That was
I
crazy.
posted a video, well, you posted the video for me, but I made a video
Hmm.
last night kind of showing an RV that I did about a week and a half ago.
Hmm.
And I did it with a bead maker bottle that I forced onto my foam cannon. And I don't recommend that method because I pretty much destroyed the threads on the bead maker bottle. We have a better solution
Oops.
for you. So first I'll show you the solution, and then I'll talk about the bead cannon. So I brought with me my foam cannon that P&S sells, and we have our bead maker sticker that we use for the IKs.
Uh-huh.
So I stuck it on here and designated this my bead maker foam cannon.
That's super
And
cool.
these stickers are available. These labels are available from our distributors.
Hmm.
It's the same label that comes in the box for the IK sprayers when they purchase them. And what I love about the bead cannon, and I'll tell you where we came up with the name. A friend of mine in North Dakota, Paul Richter, he's the one that kind of said, "Kyle, have you tried bead maker in a foam cannon?"
Hmm.
And I said, I think it would work. He's like, "No, it works. I tried it. Do it."
Hmm.
So I've been doing this for probably a few years now, and I really haven't brought it up to anyone because I wanted to make sure it worked, and it,
Hmm.
I kind of had approval to mention it to everyone,
Hmm.
and it's awesome. I
Yeah.
will say Beadmaker works good on most vehicles, and when you spray it on, just like the bead cannon, but there are a few vehicles that Beadmaker just does not
Hmm.
bond to. Usually that old dry paint. If
Sorry.
you spray it on and apply it, or you use the bead, bead maker in a foam cannon, sometimes you'll have it
Yeah.
where it just doesn't bond.
Right. Right.
So I'll explain the method of how I did this RV. So first of all, in any vehicle, we're going to wash it. While it's wet, we actually clayed the back of the RV and the hood, and with paint gloss, rinse that off. And why it's, I wouldn't say heavily wet, but while it's still lightly wet, I take the full strength bead maker in a foam cannon and shoot it, and give it a nice fine mist. And what I'm looking for, if you watch the video, the beads that build up, that's what I'm looking for. What I really love about it is I can do it when it's 110 degrees outside, and I can do it when it's 40 degrees outside. It still works. As long as it's not 32 degrees, it'll freeze. Sydney probably would figure out that faster than I would, but it works so good. And depending on how long you're able to let it dwell and keep the product wet by either adding water with your sprayer or just hitting it again with the foamer, it leaves a nice gloss behind, nice protection, almost the equivalent if you're applying bead maker full strength. And just by the spraying and wiping it on method, I've seen some really great results on fully painted RVs. That's where I usually use it. It's a way faster method to wax an RV, to protect an RV.
Yeah, cool.
And there are other products on the market that kind of do that. That's where I got the idea to keep testing it and see how it works. It atomizes the bead maker in the foam cannon, and applies it in such a way that it just makes things easy. Now, I like to give some tips. You're going to have areas, we'll say if it was an RV or a car, where a lot of water drips, maybe under the mirrors or under like the windows, where the bead maker isn't going to bond right away. I would recommend squeegeeing that area and hitting it again, and then it will start to bond. What happens is the water concentration of water in that area is not going to allow the bead maker to bond. So sometimes you have to hit it multiple times and let it build up and bond to the surface.
So one question that I want to clarify that came up a couple times this morning was some guys asked, what is mixing with the bead maker? Is it air or is it water?
So that's a great question. It is water and air, but I have it on the lowest setting of water. So there's very little water. So you know when you can add on the top of your foam cannon, you can add water or subtract water.
Oh yeah, sure.
I always go to the lowest setting. I want as much bead maker on the surface as possible. What I love to do after you spray it on is I take that foam cannon off and I put my tip on the pressure washer gun, and I keep the surface wet, maybe for 1 minute. I just want to let it sit there and bond. Then I go ahead and I start building it up and letting it rinse down, and I pretty much rinse it off and I go straight to blowing it dry.
That's really cool.
It's very similar to another product that I used years ago in a way more affordable manner. This other product was like $200 for a pint.
I was going to say like a little tiny bottle. Yeah.
And that's kind of where me and Paul got the idea and kind of ran with it in a different way, and it works great. Now, it's not going to work great on every vehicle. Like I said, older vehicles or like fiberglass RVs that have a more of a dull substrate, it's not going to work very good. But 90% of vehicles, it works great. It's great for a maintenance. If you're just doing a ceramic coating maintenance and do a quick wash clay and you want to hit it with that, rinse it off, blow it dry, man, it's fast. And it leaves behind a beautiful shine and protection.
That's really neat.
So we're going to have some comments on here, some questions. I know we are. And so I'll probably have to ask you guys to read them because I'm obviously not able to read them.
I can take this first one. So hi, Corey. Good to see you. So besides using bead maker and everything, what is a cost-effective spray wax for an express detail? So Kyle might know a little bit more about this product, but I know we have a product called Spray It, which is a spray carnauba wax. I've used it a little bit, but I just, tend to always go back to Bead Maker. I'm one of those detailers that I like to clay and seal at the same time. So, um, generally, I am not just spraying on a wax, but we do have that product called Spray It, and my experience with it is fairly limited. But Kyle, what do you think?
Yeah, so Spray It's a great product. I like it. I know some of our distributors in Southern California sell a lot of it because a lot of people want to see the word wax
Hmm.
on a bottle,
Hmm.
and that's okay. It's a carnauba spray wax. It kind of works like Bead Maker. You spray it on, you wipe it in, but there's a little difference where I would follow behind it, a few minutes later and buff off any
Yeah.
slight residue that
Hmm.
may appear because it may leave that carnauba layer behind.
Hmm.
Versus Bead Maker doesn't leave a top layer behind.
Hmm.
Um, Spray It. I don't know about its longevity. I haven't had it on vehicles enough to tell the longevity, but we know that carnauba has a lower boiling point than a
Hmm.
sealant, where Bead Maker's boiling point is going to be greater
Hmm.
because of the properties that are in it. I
Hmm.
know it lasts on darker color vehicles longer,
Hmm.
but traditionally carnauba, even paste wax carnauba, has a boiling point of like 175 degrees.
Hmm.
So that's how they get it into the tub, right? They melt it and it
Yeah.
goes in the tub. Well, if it's on a dark color vehicle, dark gray or black or red or green or dark blue,
Hmm.
um, the boiling point or the paint will get much hotter. So give Spray It a try. It comes in a pint. Really nice product. I like the smell of it, but I'm kind of a guy that likes the new stuff. I like the fun
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
There's some
I just
old school.
from a time standpoint, I think especially when you're
Yeah,
saying you're doing an express detail from a time standpoint, and even a cost standpoint, because I'm sure you already have Bead Maker in your arsenal, that I just think that, possibly with the spray it, you're gonna, invest more of your time. And if it's an express detail, I would just, even just use uh bead maker as your drying aid or something, because on an express detail, it's all about the time, right? You want to make sure that you're getting the value. So I'm assuming since it's an express detail, it's not, super high price. And so I would personally, I'm still going to grab bead maker just for the ease of use and because I'm worried about my time.
and Bead Maker is probably going to leave behind the best protection for that
Yeah.
express category of detailing,
Yeah.
where it's like an express detail is a super basic detail. It's what it implies.
Yeah.
Express. It's fast. It's
Yep.
cheaper. Um, if you're trying to provide much greater protection, then it no longer becomes an express. It becomes you applying, a longer lasting protection. You're getting into like an upgrade of sole
Yeah.
or something like that. So if we're defining it as an express, yeah, Bead Maker with the clay mitt, with
Hmm.
the vehicle still wet, clay it, rinse it after that, dry it off. You've left protection. You've
Yeah.
cleansed the paint. But if you're trying to um, leave behind the best protection, then you're going to need to dry the vehicle, then spray
Yeah.
Bead Maker on pretty um, generously,
Hmm.
let it sit for a second, wipe it in. Um,
Yeah.
I do
Yep.
that on Harleys. I've done the bead cannon, but I started doing Harleys in a different way years ago, where I'll wash and clay the Harley, and if it's just a basic detail, then I will completely. I'll kind of do a quick blow off, get most of the water off. I will spray the whole Harley down with Bead Maker and let it sit because I
Hmm.
don't do Harleys in the sun, so it's not going to
Hmm.
dry. And
Hmm.
then I'll rinse it off and then blow it dry, and I'm done. So I put even a higher concentration of Bead Maker on, not from a foam cannon, but just from my actual spray bottle.
Hmm.
And that's kind of how I do my motorcycle express detail, just because
Yeah.
it's easy, it's fast, and I can control where the stream of Bead Maker goes a little bit better with the spray bottle than I can with the foam cannon.
Yeah. Yep.
So
Cool.
the bead maker in a foam cannon, I'll do a better video than the one I posted soon. Now that I have the pretty label, and I'll show you guys that, and then we'll also let our distributors know that that's probably something people are going to want.
Yeah. Cool. All right. How often should I use Iron Buster? So, assuming we're talking like on your own vehicle or even just maintenance on a customer's vehicle, here's what I found is, generally speaking, when a customer comes in, I use Iron Buster the first time. So on a detail or ceramic coat, I'm using Iron Buster. I want to get everything off those wheels. Depending on how they're maintaining them, if I'm maintaining them, I can maintain them for quite a long time with just Brake Buster. With the exception of certain cars that have high brake dust content. So like Audis, Range Rovers, BMW, you might have to use it every single time. But for the majority of the wheels, you should be able to only use it, maybe once every 6 months. So it just kind of depends on the wheel. I don't think that there's a harm in using it. So if you have a BMW and you need to use it every week when you wash your car, I think that's fine. I would just try, always mixing it with the Brake Buster, just so that you're getting, the iron removal, but then also the rust inhibitors from the Brake Buster. I like to layer it. So I like to spray the Iron Buster on and then the Brake Buster right over it and then do the wheel cleaning. And that seems to work great. I have not seen any issues with Brake Buster at all, leaving any damage. And so I can't imagine that using it often would be a problem.
Yeah, I agree that you can use it as often as needed. If you're having a lot of brake dust problems, then you may want, or your customer does, you may want to have them put a ceramic coating on the wheels, especially, and I just did inspiration on a brand new S450 on Friday, and on the wheels. I really put it on heavy in the tight areas on the wheels, and they were pretty intricate wheels around the valve stem, where every little 90-degree angle or 45-degree angle was in the cracks. I made sure that I got inspiration in there pretty heavy, because when we got there, this vehicle's new. They washed it only a few days earlier, and the wheels were already covered in iron. So if you want to bring down that or make it easier to clean, ceramic coat them. Then you just need to use Brake Buster or even just Pearl soap. And every once in a while use Iron Buster to get it when it gets heavy. And that was a wheel question too, right? It wasn't just because Iron Buster on paint. Yeah,
just as how often should I use Iron Buster? So I guess he could have meant on the paint as well.
Paint also is what I would do it that more of a quarterly or semi-annually basis during a maintenance.
For sure.
I have some customers that work in construction or work near airports or near industrial areas. We need to do it quarterly. Their vehicles are covered in metal the next day. And then I have some vehicles that I do it maybe once a year, or every, maybe even less. It just depends on where they park their vehicle.
Cool. What's next? All right. So, hey, quick question. This is from Oscar. Quick question. I'm starting my detail business now for 6 months. I just got into paint correction and I bought an Adams 12 and 15 millimeter swirl killer. Are these machines good? And any tips? Thanks. You guys rock. So I started with an Adams 15 swirl killer, and I did fine with it. I definitely don't think they're bad. I think that there's always a starting point. When I did move up to the Rupes, there was a significant benefit to that, but I think that you're starting out. I think that's a great place to start for sure. Get comfortable with them, get comfortable with doing paint corrections. I think there are machines that are easy to learn on, and but I think that long-term wise, they're not going to be super long-term for you. What I noticed with mine was, they came out of balance fairly quickly. and, maybe just consistency as far as results. That I think that that's where it differs from, some of the higher end machines, the Rupes and the Flex. And so I think it's a great place to start. I think that, as far as tips, just keep an eye on it as far as that consistency issue, and, just do whatever classes you can on paint correction and learn as much as you can about it. But I think you're starting in a good spot.
Yeah, I agree. What I really like about companies like Adams, and we'll even say like Chemical Guys,
Mm-hmm.
they've brought a younger generation, or the new generation, to detailing,
Mm-hmm.
and it's kind of like a gateway product. And
Mm-hmm.
I say that because they focus mainly on the DIY, the enthusiasts, where companies like, we'll say, P&S, McGuire's, 3D, and other big brands like that tend to focus on the
Mm-hmm.
detailer and the professional, and they offer products in bulk and in
Mm-hmm.
high dilution. Um, Having said that, their tools also follow suit. Their
Mm-hmm.
tools are meant for, um, we'll say, occasional use or
Mm-hmm.
weekly use, but
Yeah.
not daily abuse. And
Right.
so I would use those. I would learn with those tools, get comfortable with the tool. And when those tools eventually, and all tools do, not saying that those
Mm-hmm.
aren't good, when those tools eventually wear out, bearings or cord or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, I would definitely look into the Rupes,
Mm-hmm.
or the Flex. I
Mm-hmm.
personally have a lot of Flex polishers
Yeah.
for my business. They're solid workhorses. I have the 3401. I think it's one of the best polishers around. But I
Mm-hmm.
also have my Rupes 15 Mark III.
Mm-hmm.
Great tool. Uh, Solid for polishing, gonna last a long time. And they both have excellent repair facilities that
Yeah,
can
that's what I was going to
maintain your
mention.
tool.
Yeah.
Where some of these other manufacturers, they may have a warranty, but I don't think some of them actually have,
The
I don't know
support.
about Adams,
Yeah.
I don't know,
Yeah.
a repair facility. It's
Mm-hmm.
probably cheaper to buy a new one than it is to ship it.
Yeah.
When you look at paying 100 or whatever it is to ship and have things fixed. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
And there's just something about it. Like, and I'm sure, Kyle, you feel the same way. There's just something about it too. Like, mechanic has their tools, and even though their wrench might be the same as someone else's wrench, there's just something about yours, and so we get that way with our polishers. Like, they're ours, and we tend to, hold them near and dear. And so, like, my Rupes actually right now is at the Rupes facility being repaired. And that makes me feel good to know that I'm getting my same tool back, because that was my tool. Like, that was my, it's part of what defines me as a detailer. And so it's one of my most important tools. And so I don't just want a new one. I want the one that, I have broken in and that has stories and has been through days with me and stuff. So I think that that's just kind of similar to, like, any other tools that we have in life. Like, we just like our own, and you kind of have this relationship with your own tool. And so I think that, like Kyle said, the warranty and the repair service from these companies, Flex and Rupes, is just, that's kind of what kicks it up a notch as well, is just to know that you have that customer support on the other end
that,
from the
it's kind of
manufacturers.
funny that you say that, Sydney, about your tool, because, um, man, I would say 10 years ago when I first went to SEMA, 10 or 11 now, I bought a Flex
Mhm.
3401. And that
Mhm.
Flex has gone with me to Seattle for the Air
Yeah.
Force One project
Mhm.
every year. So all
Yep.
7 years that I did that project until
Yep.
last year, obviously, COVID.
Yep.
But I sent it out to have some stuff repaired on it,
Mhm.
and they wanted to replace the handles because
Mhm.
they're getting kind of worn out. And I'm like, nope, I
Nope.
want I want them to
Yep.
stay the same.
Yep.
Just
Yeah.
put some super glue in the thread and shove the screw back in.
Yep.
And
Yep.
they're like, yeah, but I'm like, nope, I want my handles. So they actually
Mhm.
replaced them and sent me
Mhm.
my handles back. And I took the replacement handles off Threaded the plastic, super glue it, dripped it in, and now I got my original handles on still. That thing, I wish I had a
Kyle's freezing up.
It's and I can tell a difference white as
yeah, that would be cool. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, barely. You kind of breaking up. So yeah, but we got you. No, we got you.
You're getting better.
Okay,
you're getting better, but I got your
quite
message.
As fast of a tool as my brand new Flex.
Right.
But I still love it, and I'm going to keep it forever.
Yeah, they just become part of us, and it's almost like they learn us too, right? A little bit. You know, I'm sure that's in the head, but you know. Yes, absolutely. So Hiram just kind of mentioned that the relationship with Flex, Chris Metcalf, Bobby Wiener makes it worth it. Absolutely. I mean, these guys that work for these companies are such an integral part of the industry, and they give back so much. And absolutely, that is so true. You know, and Dylan from Rupes and all the guys at Flex. I mean, they're both just so awesome. So that's it. And also let's talk about then when they are there to help the industry, even just as far as like tips for polishing, tips for using their tools, you know, those kind of things you're not going to get from some of these, you know, just online order, you know, tools. Now that's not to, those tools are fine. They're totally a great starting place, but we're just saying that obviously as you become more proficient in paint correction, the things that those other companies provide is just really, really important.
You're gonna switch over time as you use those, just like those mechanics will use Harbor Freight or, you know, Craftsman. They go to Snap-on and Matco. And that's just because you will wear that tool out one day if you use it every day as a professional. That's okay. You're just going to want to upgrade to something that's going to last you a little longer the next time.
Yep. All right. What's next? We've got from Golden Gate North. So this is a good question. I read this one already. So maybe you guys can help me with this. Rarely I get a comment from a customer that says bead maker streaks on this car, but not on this car. So the thing about this is, so what causes this? So, you know, this is just basically what is it? What are you putting it on? So it could be the quality of the paint. It could be, you know, is there contamination on the surface? What towels are they using? You know, there's a lot of factors that come into play when we're talking about streaks with bead maker. The most common one that I find is going to be the towels. It's going to be, you know, that did you use, you know, enough product where it didn't flash too fast, and did you use a second towel? So, and did the towel remove enough? So that's going to be the first thing. The second time where I've seen bead maker streak is on really dry paint. So if it's a situation where the paint is absorbing too much of the bead maker before you even have the chance to wipe it, you can get streaks that way too. So a lot of it is just dependent on, you know, the substrate and the paint. And so it's kind of hard to totally answer that question just because it could be a variable of issues. But my first questions are always going to be the toweling. Are you using it in direct sunlight? Direct sunlight's almost always going to give you streaking. And just what's the quality of the paint? I mean, quality of paint can be all over the place, from new to old to, you know, even some new cars are not in the greatest quality. So
I second that. Those are definitely causes of streaking with actually spray on products in general, not just bead maker. But what I also find is the people that are having those problems, and I've heard this a few times, also like to use other products. And what I see is they're actually mixing different types of waxes and polymers and oils and silicones, and it's just not working. You have this, you know, this concoction on top of your paint surface. Where I've had people tell me, oh, I use this brand's SiO2 and this brand's graphene, and I topped it with bead maker, and it's just not going to work. Bead maker works great on ceramic coatings, pretty much most brands. I have not had a problem with bead maker on, and I've used multiple brands. It works great. But if you're having streak problems, you may want to strip the paint, clay it, polish it, use some paint prep, and reapply.
Yeah.
It may be interacting with other products.
Yep.
I get people want to have fun and play with Bead Maker and other products, but they just can't get upset when it's just different chemicals, different companies use stuff. So
Yep. So the next question, so the next question is, and I think we kind of already answered this, was how do you use this as a spray cannon with air ? So like Kyle said before, you're going to use it obviously connected to your pressure washer like a normal foam cannon, but you're going to turn that water input way down to the lowest point so that you're adding in as little water as possible is the way that Kyle likes to use it.
You know, that brings up a good point. I'm sure you could put Bead Maker in a HVLP sprayer, a spray gun, and apply it that way if you wanted to get really fancy, kind of like a car wash or a detail center would. You know, they have the air lines connected to their product.
Yeah.
I think it worked fine. It's just going to send us a nice, super fine, even mist over the paint. It may even save you on product usage because you're not going to be putting extra product on the surface. So that would be something called Bead Maker works well in an IK, in a sprayer, in a foam cannon, in a spray gun. However you apply it, maybe not pouring it on the surface from the gallon, right? But however you decide you want to apply it, it'll work for you.
Yeah.
Or in your coffee.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, don't drink it.
Don't drink it. As fun as it sounds or as good as it smells, don't drink it. So next question, what is the longevity or strength between 1, 2, or 3 layers of inspiration or legend? So here's my take on it is I would not do 3 layers. And I'm going to tell you why from a standpoint of I've been in this situation before. The reason I'm not going to ever do 3 layers is 1, I don't think it's necessary. 2, if you have a situation where, and this happens a lot in Idaho, somebody hits a branch and you get a pretty good scratch, or even is involved in a collision where that coating needs to be removed prior to repainting that area that's been in the collision, even, you know, the panels next to that. You know, it's a hard enough coating to get off already to prep for certain areas like that, or if you need to totally recoat that door because it's hit some pretty strong branches. You know, 3 layers, I think that it gives such a great level of protection with 2 that 3 is just making it harder in situations like that. And I've been faced with many situations like that. So that would be my hesitation for using 3 layers is just the sheer fact of if you need to remove it completely in the future. The difference between 1 and 2, that one for me is pretty easy. The difference between 1 and 2 is I always consider number 1 is like your base layer. That's what you're getting to bond to the paint. That's giving your base layer. The layer number 2 is your strength layer. You know, that's what's going to really, there's so much more that is left behind in that second layer. And I think that's why it's so easy to put the second layer on. And same with View, like the View ceramic coating works the same way, is that first layer is just kind of your grab on layer. You know, that's what's bonding with the paint. And then the second one really holds on. So the 1 and 2 is easy. And I don't know how you feel about 3, Kyle, but that's my reason for not doing 3.
No, I agree that 2 is probably the best because you have the base and you have the topper, whether that base is inspiration and topped with inspiration or legend with legend or legend with soul or inspiration with soul. That works well together, and especially because you're waiting just the right amount of time so that the base layer is cured enough for you to then apply the second layer. If you were to let legend fully cure and then put soul on top of it, legend is hydrophobic. I don't think you're going to have as much soul applied to it when it's fresh, new, cured, than if you were to wait 2 hours and apply it and it's still allowing it to bond together. So by doing 3 layers, I honestly feel that you're not going to put enough coating on to make a difference, and you're probably going to be wasting product, and you're not going to notice a difference in shine, slickness, hardness. It's not enough. And the reason I say that is this: I've been doing ceramic coatings in the Southern California area, and I know I have a lot of friends that have been out there doing this too, as long as I. We're few and far between, but almost 10 years now. I've tried, I would say probably 7, 8 different brands of coatings and used, and they all work great. I don't think by putting 3 layers, 5 layers, 10 layers, whatever layers it on, makes a huge difference. What makes a difference in ceramic coatings is maintenance. You could put 1 layer on of Inspiration or Soul or Legend and leave it out in the desert and not take good care of it at all, and it's not going to last. You could take mildly good care of it, and it's going to last just like we say it will. So I would put 2 layers on if this is a detailer, and then sell your customer on an annual maintenance and take good care of that ceramic coating for them for many years to come. You'll make good money. You'll keep your client happy. I'd much rather do that than trying to slap 3 layers on and then never see them again.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's my philosophy on coatings now, and I'm pretty sure that's most detailers agree with. You want to see the customer back, and you want to maintain the coating.
Hey, I'm gonna jump in. Can you guys expand on, what kind of longevity most people see, or you tell your customers when it comes to like 1 layer of Inspiration versus 2, and 1 layer of Legend versus 2?
Yeah. So for longevity, that's all very subjective to what happens to that car after it leaves your shop, right? So are they going to be hand washing it? Are you going to be washing it? Are they going to be running it through a car wash 3 times a week? Because how that car is treated is going to dictate how long that coating is going to last. So I know everybody really likes to put a year number on it, but that's a difficult one for me because you could see it last shorter or it could last way longer. I mean, I know for a fact that I've got cars that I have Inspiration and Soul on that's going to last 5 or 6 years because of the way that it's maintained. It's also going to depend on the quality of paint underneath that coating. Was it brand new? Was it older? Rough shape paint. Like what were we starting with? So what I generally quote to my customers is that Inspiration 2 layers, whether that be 2 Inspiration or Inspiration and Soul, they're going to get roughly 3 years. And then with Legend, I say roughly 5 years. But I let them know that that's a very subjective time frame. And when we quote those as Team PNS, we assume kind of a mid-level of care, meaning they're going to run their car through a car wash every week, and we're going to see them back once a year for maintenance. That's kind of where I base my time frame off. But and I think that's generally everybody on our team is that it's not perfect maintenance. So what that tells me is with perfect maintenance, we're probably going to get way more than what we quote out of that coating. So that's being on the real conservative side to say 3 and 5.
Yeah, what you just said. Multiple layers, at least those 2 layers, are going to bring you closer to or above our projected longevity. If we say Inspiration is and I've seen Inspiration last 3 years in a single layer, but the car is stored indoors.
Yeah.
Unless it goes to the grocery store, or leaves for a doctor's appointment. But I've also seen Inspiration at a single layer last a year. Because it was on a construction site and never washed, never maintained, and so really it will depend on that. You just got to give your customer the best advice you can, encourage them to take care of it, and if it lasts, wonderful. If it doesn't, then that's why, because they didn't listen. We can only make those suggestions or recommendations.
Yep.
Excuse me.
Yep. Yep. And for me, that when I quote my customers the 3 years, and I have some, and I don't have to requote all of them, but what giving my customer the time frame of 3 years means that on that third year, when they come back in for their coating maintenance, that gives me a way to say, like, if I feel like that coating really needs like another layer of inspiration, that gives me that opportunity to say to them, okay, we're at the end of the 3 years, but I'm completely honest. And if we've got more time to go, I'm like, hey, we've got another year here. Let's just do this because, I think that that's, doing what's right by the customer. And so I prefer to do that, but giving them that 3 year or 5 year, that gives you, an out. And I also, again, if I know that they run their car through a car wash 3 times a week, then I will say to them, this is a 3 year coating, but hey, by the way, because of how you wash your car and the elements that it goes through, if it's a construction truck or something like that, I say there's a good chance at 2 years we might need to put on another layer or something like that. So it's all very dependent on the customer, their lifestyle, what the paint. I mean, there's so many varying factors in there.
And honestly, that's why I love Soul,
Yeah.
because I can tell people, depending on their maintenance schedule, once a year or maybe even every other year, where we can maintain the coating. And part of maintenance, and we don't really talk about that, is cleaning the paint with a clay or even iron remover or a light polish. You're still going to get contaminants in the coating, and you will notice because the performance will slow down as soon as you cleanse that coating, however whatever method it needs. I've actually seen coatings start beating water again after we've kind of just put a clay and
all the time
and a wipe down with paint prep. Just it was clogged up. It had a lot of junk in it.
Yeah. And I personally, just for testing purposes, I have on most of my Durango, I only have one layer of inspiration. And it's been 2.5 years since I put inspiration on my car. And it's mainly maintained by me very well. I have clayed with and bead makered. At some point in those 2.5 years, I have run it through the car wash, and I want to recoat it, but I'm also curious how long I can make it. And honestly, when I wash my car and if I use clay and bead maker, it's like I just put the inspiration on. So, and that's just one layer, which technically should have only lasted, we would say 2 years or something. But I mean, it's going to far exceed that just because it's had such great care in the meantime. So, just take each customer, given their vehicle, their habits, the environment that it lives in, and what color it is too, right?
Yeah, I saw a comment earlier. It's like mixing alcohol, beer, and whiskey. It doesn't work very well.
Yeah,
it's
right. Yeah,
just like mixing
so
Bead
true.
Maker and other brands products.
Yep.
They don't play well.
No.
So what other questions can we get into? Because I'm really excited to kind of show something else. I want to show off this new look to a favorite product that we have.
Yeah, we're super excited.
And so if we can answer a couple more questions before we do that, that'd be great.
Was there anything before, Chris? I felt like we missed some from before, but
this one, I'm staying on top of them pretty good. I think we're doing all right.
Oh, okay. Which one? I just see the beer and whiskey one.
Oh, interesting. Well, so Joseph asks, does applying bead maker on inspiration or on legend make the coatings take on bead maker's water properties, or does it maintain the coatings properties?
Very good question.
That's a great question. I feel like it still maintains the coatings property.
Oh, did we lose Sydney?
We did. We'll get her back.
Well, I'll keep going off that. She's right. It does maintain the coatings properties. Bead maker and legend and inspiration have a very similar contact angle, and bead water very similar. I haven't noticed an increase of hydrophobicity with Bead Maker or Legend. So they're very similar. They bead really nice, tight beads. Just you're maintaining it. And when you do put Bead Maker on top of Legend or Inspiration, I don't recommend doing it for a few hours until after applied, or even the next day. Let the coating cure. And then do it. I've had a couple times where it didn't play well. It was maybe just the temperature outside. It wasn't cured enough, and caused a little bit of a problem. But I came back the next day and it went on beautifully. And just honestly, I do it for that extra pop and that making sure there's no dust on the car when the customer picks it up.
Yeah, and to be honest, since Legends come out, we released Soul last year, and to be honest, I've never put Bead Maker over Legend before the cure, right away. Like we used to put Bead Maker over Inspiration 2 hours later, and that was a great, way to allow Inspiration to cure before it kind of, had exposure to elements. But I have not done that since Soul came out, because Soul is so easy and it's such a great protective topper that I prefer to just throw a layer of Soul on top of every coating that I do, just for that immediate protection, because Soul can go out in the environment right away, and it is kind of its protective layer. And I find that I can put a layer of Soul down faster than I can put Bead Maker. And I don't have that 2-hour wait. You only have about a 45-minute wait. So, just I want to mention that too, that as far as topping immediately, if you haven't, I would try Soul, and then maintenance washes and stuff. Bead Maker's fantastic.
Yeah, especially as a drying aid, you'll always be adding a tiny layer of protection, giving it some gloss, and also makes it easier and allows the water to evaporate off the surface because of it.
And Joseph said, "You guys are the best. Thanks for dealing with me. Not a problem. You have great questions."
Thank you.
I don't think I have another question at the moment. So Kyle, you want to talk about your whatever you're talking about?
What was it?
Yeah, Kyle. He wants us to tell what we have as a fun thing today.
Well,
do you want me to do it, or you want to do it? I do. Yeah. Do you want me to do it?
Yeah, you do. I mean, I have mine
Okay.
too.
Cool. Awesome. All right. So, one of Kyle and I's very favorite products is, well, first I'll tell you before I show you the bottle. So it's the No Rub. So I'm not sure if you guys have tried that, but it is a aerosol, kind of a no rub coating we use it as a finisher. So, one of our goals has been to kind of modernize some of these labels and kind of make them fun and noticeable. And so a couple months ago, we started working with Bob on redoing the No Rub label, and we're super excited about it. See if I can turn this right. So this is the new packaging for No Rub coating. My goodness, this is hard. So you'll see we've got the item number there, and it's very cool. What in the world? That is so hard. Yes. And then we have, we did down the side all the things that you can use it on, which is basically everything, which is so cool. So No Rub coating, we're going to do a ton of videos on this. So this is literally like the final touch in a bottle. So I use this I go around the whole car final. So, like in the seat cracks by, all those adjusting arms and stuff, it gets all the coating down in there. In the vents, rather than worrying about them being perfect, which I do get them cleaned out, but you can always see kind of those lines in the vents. It just coats and this is a spray and walk away. So spray the vents, spray all the nooks and crannies. I spray down in the cup holders to make sure that it gets those nice and coated. It's great in door jams, the little black, I don't even know what those are, but the little hinge thing. Yeah, the rubber boot over the hinge. You can, no matter what you do to that, it never looks clean. So I'll use it that. The difference is absolutely amazing. And I'll go around the bottom of the car. I'll spray, you might dress the whole plastic, but you miss that up around the tailpipe. I'll spray up in there. Door handles, like it's just that kind of final spray, and it's so awesome. It self levels. You don't have to go back and wipe it up. And so it just darkens, crisps everything, makes everything look nice and tight. So love it. This is really, really such an amazing tool in your arsenal.
I want to talk about how I enjoy using it. So say I wash a vehicle and I clay it. What I like to do before I bead maker, before I do the windows, is I like to blow dry the cowl, that plastic area that's right between the hood and the windshield.
Yeah.
I like to get it dry and then hit it with no rub. The reason why is I want it to soak in while I'm doing the rest of my detail. And when we come back and we apply bead maker on the hood, the bead maker and the towel basically wipes off any overspray from the no rub.
Yeah.
It's way efficient. Don't do no rub at the end, because you'll end up wiping, having to re-clean the window, having to re-clean the hood.
Yep. Yep.
But if you can do no rub, print time saving, and my guys get it now. They didn't really get it for a while. But we'd always hit no rub in those areas. That way bead maker and the bead maker towel can be the cleaning, the leveling area. And then you can take a yellow or another towel, a general purpose microfiber, and kind of blend it a little bit if you want to take some of the shine off. I like the shine. I think it looks good. People really like it.
Yeah.
Funny story, years ago, when I was doing a kind of a detail competition, some friendly competition, some friends, that I kind of got in trouble because I was using no rub, and I pretty much used a whole can on one car. And Rennie Doyle didn't like that. He said, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I love this stuff. I love the smell." I used it in the vents, the cup holders, the little area that's between the steering wheel and the steering column.
Yes.
I just take the steering wheel and spray it around. And, so use up no rub, but it's awesome. We're really excited that it has a fresh new look. That's been one of our goals for a while.
Yeah. The other place is, all these new cars have these real intricate grills, but they're all kind of that cheap plastic, right? And so I do the same thing as you do with the cowl, and I do the grill, because it fills in all those little cracks and crevices. You don't have to go in there with your finger into each hole, and you don't have to worry about spraying a heavy dressing like Dynamic or something. So it's just great for all those tight areas that you need to moisturize so that they turn nice and black. And so it's
total lipstick on a pig.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, if you have a beautiful car, it works great just to maintain and keep the shine. If you have a nasty car, it hides dull, faded plastics that people weren't paying for a plastic rejuvenation surface or service. It fixes all those little problems and makes them go away, and people like the look of it.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. So watch for that to be rolled out.
I was going to say the stereo speakers, the speaker.
Oh yeah. Frame, yep. Yes.
That or the deep pockets, that you can't get in. You've already cleaned, but like if you're going to do like a dressing, getting your applicator just doesn't get the cracks. That's where I love it. It's perfect for that.
Yeah, those little cubbies in the dashboard underneath the stereo, everybody just shoves all their stuff in. It's great to get to the back of that. I use a lot of it. I mean, it's amazing. And I kind of have a process now where, in each car I go and I know exactly where I need to look, and I just walk around and spray and just get it all filled in. And I actually mostly do that right before I do the regular, like whether I'm using Dynamic or natural finish, I'll hit all the tight spots first, so that then when I go back over, it kind of blends it out, and then I, know that I have like the Dynamic or natural finish is what's on top. So I love the no rub. I'm so excited about the new label.
Kind of an interesting name, right? Like no rub coating. Basically, it wasn't meant to be wiped off. You sprayed it, and it was your final shine. But a lot of people don't realize, and we have to remind them that P&S is a 60-year-old company. Some of the product names, that's what was hip. That's what it was back then. between high tone and buff tone and no rub.
Yeah.
I kind of like it because it does show the heritage of the company that we work with.
Yeah.
And it's different a lot, and it's gonna say coating even though it's not a coating. This is the original coating. This is OG. So the part number, the product number is right there, nice and bold on the front, saying L450, and it's just, I love how this came out. So thanks Dave and Bob and Keith for again allowing us to give some input to something that needed a little bit of an update.
Yes. Yep. We're super excited about that. So Tim says that looks really good. Please tell Bob and Dave and everyone involved. Excellent job. Cool. All right. So last time I asked, I was told Express would remove P&S leather conditioner. So what would I use to clean and freshen up the interior weekly before it comes to my next quarterly full detail? So I think here's my answer to this, because this is what I do in my car. So I'm taking my personal car here just because I obviously use Express the most in my own car. My customers' cars, I'm usually using Express and reapplying the conditioner each time. So on my own personal car, I only use the leather conditioner maybe once. I mean, to be honest, probably 8 months, maybe every 8 months. And then I use Express every single week. So when you use the Express or the leather conditioner, you're conditioning the leather. And even though maybe the Express has removed some part of that, the leather is still at its core conditioned. And so I use Express every single week on my car, and it does not, and that's the beauty of Express, is it does not dry out the leather at all. So leather tends to dry out because of other factors. Like I know for me, one of the things is when my kids get in the car after they've been in a swimming pool, things like that. So if you've got your leather conditioned, and leather only needs to be conditioned, say every 3 to 6 months, I don't feel there's any risk in using Express as often as you'd like. In my own car, which I do this every week, I use Express. I do not notice any drying or degradation of the leather from using Express literally weekly. And I use it straight up with a dry towel and wipe the entire interior of my car down every single week. And my leather is still perfectly conditioned. So I think what we mean by that is you will fully clean the seat, but you're not drying it out. And so you're not leaving it in a situation where it's going to need more conditioner every single time you use Express.
Exactly. Because conditioner, just like conditioning and I like to find the like manner way of explaining things to people. You're conditioning your hair, right? You're conditioning your leather. It is meant to moisturize the hide or the core of the surface of the material. So the conditioner is still going to remain even when you're cleaning the surface. And if this is a client's vehicle, then I would be selling them on doing conditioner more regularly if it's a concern of theirs. But like Sydney said, my truck has leather in it. I use Express all the time on it. I have kids, and I probably do conditioner. I'd say closer to every 6 months. We'll say semi-annual. I'd like to say more quarterly, but I don't get around to it. But I'm also not worried about my leather as much because all of my windows are tinted, and I have ceramic tint. Or IR tint, as they call it too. So I don't have the drying out in my truck that other people do because I don't drive a fish, or what do you call that? Bubble.
Fishbowl.
A fishbowl. There you go.
Yeah.
I like my windows dark, and so that helps too. So,
So especially if you're applying that leather conditioner quarterly, you are perfectly fine to use Express every week. You're totally fine. That's exactly what I do. Yeah.
But
you're good.
Right on there.
Yeah. Yep. You're good. Hiram says Keith Duplessis is the man. We agree.
Yeah, he is. I appreciate Keith Duplessis a lot.
Yes, he's awesome. Okay. So Joseph Mitchell asked another question. I noticed that paint prep seems less aggressive than, let's say, GTX panel wipe. Is that so? it's not capable of harming the cladding when cleansing the coating, or just what is necessary for the coating? So basically, why is ours less aggressive than some others?
That's a good question. Ours was made by our chemist to remove any oils and silicones that are needed to coat a vehicle. G Technique, I've used their panel wipe. It is some serious stuff. And you're right, it can do some things that are a little scary.
Yeah.
Why? That's just how they made theirs. We wanted to be less aggressive. We don't want to harm the paint or create streaking or soften the paint. Then you have telling marks. So remember, G Technique's also not made here in the U.S. It is from a European company. They do things a little different.
Yep. Yeah. So just safe and effective. That was the plan with paint prep, was just, super safe and super effective. So yes, that's a great question.
Let's see.
Shane Pennington would like to know if No Rub's going to come in bigger cans or scented. So what was the issue, Kyle? Because we did explore the bigger can thing at some point. What was the issue with that?
Honestly, I don't know. Well, it's because we've had the same company that is forever that's done our spray cans.
Yeah.
And so it's not something that's available to us without changing. We're really happy with our formula and our can supplier. So we're going to stick with them. We didn't really want to get into the scent because we do have people that don't like, scents.
Yeah.
So
we're and it's
how it is.
And you're not using it a ton. I mean, it is kind of just those quick shots that, I don't know how, so it's 9 ounces. I would say probably on each car I use an ounce. So, you're not using that much of it, that I don't know there would be a huge benefit in scenting it, because you spray out really so little, you're not sitting there spraying big areas. If you have huge areas, you need to be using like dynamic or something. This is like the tight little, you're talking quick sprays. So I don't think there'd be a huge benefit to that. And then for me personally, being a girl, I like the smaller can because I just, the big can would be heavier.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I've used many different final shines or instant shines over the years, and the
Piper
can
really
size
wants to say hi.
bug me.
Okay, say hi real quick, and then
hi, Piper.
She's whining down here because she can't be on camera.
Well, he's like your dog or your cat,
I know. Oh, they're both up here.
Hold on one second. I gotta jump.
Okay. Oh, Piper. The cat's laying behind the computer. Okay, come say hi. Come on. Everybody's ready for you. Now she won't. That's so funny. Cool. Do we have any other questions, or we good? I did see a question from Adam earlier that I just wanted to mention. So Adam Garvin had mentioned that I was less than 30 days out from my car show, and yes, like total crunch time. We're super excited. What are we about? I don't even know, 25 days now. So yes, on June 5th, we have the car show here in Boise, and super, super excited. And we are just literally at the final touches, and it's like go time. And it's nice here in Idaho. So pretty much at this point, I just need to pray for no rain that day. But otherwise, we're ready to go. We're ready to go.
There better not be any rain.
I know. It always rains Memorial Day weekend here. So it's the weekend after. We've never had rain yet. We did have, 2 years ago, it rained right when the award ceremony started. So we had a beautiful day, and then it was like in Hawaii. Like all of a sudden there was just this flash rain that was exactly 20 minutes long, which was exactly the award ceremony. And so everybody came and grabbed their awards and ran and jumped to their car and took off. It was kind of funny. But yeah, that's really the only thing we need to hope for now is no rain. But otherwise we're ready to go. We're just waiting on like trophies and all that kind of good stuff. But it's going to be nuts.
Cool.
We're excited. Yeah. There's Kyle.
There's Kyle.
Hello.
And yes, Keith Duplessis is coming to town next week, and so is Kyle Clark, which we are super excited about. We've got a couple fun projects next week, so keep your eyes open for that. I'm sure we'll be posting a lot, and yeah, we've got a lot of fun stuff. I don't know how much I'm supposed to tell, so I'm just going to keep it at that. Keith and Kyle are coming, and it's going to be a good time. We'll be back at the Rag Company, and then we've got a couple other fun projects in town too. So looking forward to that next week. So the three of us will be together Wednesday through Friday next week.
Man, that's next week. Holy cow.
It is. I know. Crazy. Yeah. Next week.
The world just, man, it just doesn't stop. It's go, go, go all the time.
Yep.
Did you make it to your powder coater?
I am. I just parked in the
parking
lot.
Cool.
And I was kind of like, my truck doesn't fit in here very well. It's a small
dog and cat are fighting. So one last quick question from Joseph Mitchell. So when's the maximum time between a second layer, let's say of inspiration, with the proper preparation? Also, can these survive a light polish? So the maximum time between a second layer would be, you want to wait at least 45 minutes, and then there's not specifically a maximum time, but what I will say is that means if the car is sitting and not moving. If you have driven the vehicle, then you kind of go back to square one, right? You need to do a light polish, maybe even with just Envy. But you don't want to just throw on a second layer when the car could have environmental contamination on it that's not coming off with the wash. So, but I've done it where a car's still been sitting in my shop and I put on a second layer 4 hours later, 5 hours later. That's not a problem at all, as long as the car's been sitting in undriven, clean conditions. And then can it survive a light polish? Absolutely it can. That's one of the great things about Inspiration and Legend both, is that they can be polished and it doesn't necessarily remove them. So that is the nice thing. What I do find though, which is so great with both of them, is Envy, which is a jeweling polish. So it's super gentle. It will take out most of what you need to, unless you have a really heavy defect like a tree branch. But if you just need kind of like a prep polish between layers, Envy is going to do exactly what you need. Envy is phenomenal on both Inspiration and Legend, and really cleans it up, gets it ready to go for that second layer. And Envy is also, if you don't have that in your arsenal, it is absolutely vital for high spots. It literally takes it off right away.
Looks like Anthony just asked, does Envy have any silica in it? It does not have anything that's going to not allow you to coat on top of it. It's not has silicone or oils like that. Funny fact, or a really interesting fact about Envy, we just did a brand new white S450 on Friday, and we went and I did a test spot with Envy with a yellow pad. My yellow pad turned like brown. Brand new car, we just washed it and clayed it, and there was still dirt in the paint. That's why it's so important to at least do a prep polish before you ceramic coat. You have to make sure it's clean. Whether you're doing a paint correction or not doing a correction, you need to do some sort of preparation polish.
Yep. What extent of polishing can they handle as far as machine speed, passes, etc.? I appreciate guys' best wishes and safe travels. This is from Joseph again. So when I've had, say, a tree branch hit Inspiration, and I've had to use like deep finish, I do the normal 6 passes, yellow pad, blue pad. When I'm doing that, if I'm doing a pretty heavy defect removal, I'll still put another coat of Inspiration on top of it, honestly. If I'm using Envy, then I usually don't, but I'll throw a coat of Soul on it. So they can handle a lot. You're not going to remove Inspiration just from using a polish. To remove Inspiration, you're going to have to do a pretty heavy, compounding situation. So they can handle a lot, a lot of polishing and normal paint correction as far as that goes. But I do when I'm doing heavy defect removal, even just with a polish, I still throw a coat of Sol on it just to make sure, because I don't know, I know that there's still coating there, but I don't know how much. So
Yeah.
I just, Sol is so easy. I just stick some on an applicator and coat that door again or whatever I'm working on, and
I agree.
Sol has been so great for stuff like that. Yeah.
I would say best practices, recoat that panel.
Yeah. Yeah.
The reason why I say that is because you may abrade the surface 5%, 10%, 50%. We don't know.
Hold on, Piper. Mm-hmm.
But the hydrophobicity, the water beading will not be the same where you polished. So
right.
if you want to make it blend and match when your customer gets to wash their vehicle and they see the show, as I like to call it, then it will completely match. That's why I ceramic coat clear bra. I use Sol or whatever I'm using.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to see the clear bra not beading and the PPF and then the paint is beading. I want them to match.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Well, is that everything?
That might be everything for now.
Piper is dying to go use her new potty spot.
Oh, shoot. So next Bead Maker and Coffee, where are we? Are we in Idaho?
2 weeks from today. Nope. You will have just gotten home. So it'll be the Monday after here. So we'll have lots to talk about. So that's going to be exciting. So it's the 24th, 2 weeks from today. And everybody would have just gotten home from Boise.
Hopefully we have something new to share with you guys.
Yep.
That's always fun. So if you have more questions about the bead cannon or no rub, you can find Sydney and I. We will answer questions on our at PS Detail Products on Instagram. That's where we're very we're on there a lot. Yeah. And also our Facebook, or you can reach out to Sydney and I. Our Instagram handles are right there. I Wash Auto Detailing, at Extreme Detailing Kyle, and PS Detail Products. And once again, thank you, Chris, for getting up early.
Yes, thank you, Chris.
And doing your magic.
You guys have a great week. Yeah, have a great week.
Yep.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Driving.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was perfect. That was good. All right. Cool. Thank you, everybody. Have an awesome week.
All right. Bye-bye.